Mr. Chairman, I am pleased to confirm that we have quorum to proceed.
Good morning. I'm pleased to declare open this protocolary meeting of the Permanent Council, which has been convened to receive the Honourable Prime Minister of Grenada, Dickon Mitchell. The order of business is approved. I invite all meeting participants to rise as we welcome the Prime Minister of Grenada, the Honourable Dickon Mitchell. The Honourable Joseph Andal, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Export Development of Grenada. Please be seated. Ambassador Charlie Francis, Permanent Representative of Grenada to the Organization of American States and Vice Chair of the Permanent Council. Distinguished Permanent, Interim and Alternate Representatives of the Member States. Mr. Luis Almagro, Secretary General, Ambassador Nestor Mendez, Assistant Secretary General, distinguished permanent observers, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Permanent Council of the Organization of American States, it is an honor to extend a warm greeting to the Prime Minister of Grenada, the Honourable Dickon Mitchell, and to offer him a most cordial welcome to this esteemed House of the Americas. The Honourable Dickon Mitchell is a distinguished Grenadian politician and attorney who has proudly served as the 9th Prime Minister of Grenada since June 24, 2022. Born to hard-working parents at Petit Esperance in St. David, Prime Minister Mitchell exemplifies determination and resilience. His foundational education at St. David's Roman Catholic School and the Presentation Brothers College paved the way for his remarkable academic and professional journey. Following his studies at T.A. Marishaw Community College, he advanced his education at the University of the West Indies at Cave Hill, Barbados, where he earned a Bachelor of Laws with honors in 2000 and subsequently completed the Legal Education Certificate at Hugh Wooding Law School in Trinidad and Tobago in 2002. Prime Minister Mitchell began his professional career as a teacher at Presentation Brothers College, further solidifying his commitment to educational advancement. He later distinguished himself as an accomplished lawyer, acquiring Grant, Joseph & Company in 2005 and subsequently founding Mitchell & Company in 2017, thereby creating valuable opportunities for young lawyers and enriching the legal community. His diverse experiences as a teacher, mentor, lawyer, and youth advocate have profoundly shaped his dedication to Grenada and inspired his entry into the political arena. Just a few months into his political career, the Honourable Dickon Mitchell led his party to a resounding victory and was sworn in as the 9th Prime Minister of the Tri-Island State of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique on June 24, 2022. Prime Minister, your leadership as Grenada's Prime Minister embodies the spirit of resilience and commitment to progress that is essential to our region. In addition to your role as Prime Minister, your service as Grenada's Minister for Infrastructure and Physical Development, Public Utilities, Civil Aviation and Transportation, and Minister for National Security, Home Affairs, Public Administration, Information and Disaster Management demonstrates your dedication to the welfare of your people. We also commend you for your current role as Chairman of CARICOM Community, CARICOM, a position you assumed on July 1st, 2024, further exemplifying your commitment to regional collaboration. Grenada, the Isle of Spice, has played an active and constructive role in the Organization of American States since joining in April of 1975. Your country's contribution to promoting democracy, human rights, and sustainable development throughout the Americas are commendable. As a steadfast advocate for small island developing states, Grenada emphasizes the importance of inclusive governance and social justice, principles that resonate within our organization. Through its active engagement in the OAS, Grenada has taken a bold stance on pressing issues such as climate change and environmental sustainability, the strengthening of democracy and democratic institutions, eradication of poverty, and the urgent need for security in the face of gang violence. Grenada's unwavering commitment to multilateralism and collaborative efforts underscores a profound belief in the transformative powers of collective action to tackle our most pressing challenges and achieve sustainable development goals. Together, we can forge a resilient future that uplifts our communities and strengthens our region. We proudly stand witness to Grenada's unwavering solidarity with our sister nation Haiti, reflecting a deep commitment to supporting our neighbor on the path towards stability and development. As Grenada celebrates its 50th Jubilee year of independence under the inspiring theme, One People, One Journey, One Future, the OAS member states extend our heartfelt congratulations. This significant milestone reminds us of the strength that lies in unity and collaboration. It stands as a testament to the resilience of your people and the unwavering commitment to progress in the region. On behalf of the OAS Permanent Council, I eagerly anticipate the continued successes of the countries of the hemisphere, celebrating our shared identity. Together, we exemplify the power of collaboration, the resilience of our peoples, and our steadfast dedication to regional advancement. Prime Minister, on behalf of the member states of the OAS, and as a fellow CARICOM sister nation, it is an honor for me to welcome you to the OAS Permanent Council. At this time, I am pleased to offer the floor to Mr. Luis Almagro, Secretary General of the Organization of American States. Mr. Secretary General, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for your very good speech, introductory speech. Excellency Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell, dear friend Minister for Foreign Affairs, Trade and Export Development, Joseph Andel, distinguished representatives, ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to welcome Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell, the youngest head of government in CARICOM and esteemed leader of Grenada, to this Hall of the Americas. Prime Minister, your presence here today symbolizes the resilience and forward-looking leadership that Grenada and the wider Caribbean have contributed to our hemisphere. Under your stewardship, Grenada remains a model of democracy, good governance, and regional cooperation. The OAS is proud of our strong partnerships with your government, particularly in areas that are critical to the security and well-being of our region, such as countering drug trafficking, human smuggling, and terrorism. These challenges demand our collective attention and resolve, and through our collaboration, we are making important strides towards safeguarding our societies. At the same time, we recognize the indispensable role of a strong institution of democracy and governance, and Grenada's commitment to this principle stands as a model for all the Americas. Together, we continue to strengthen these institutions, which serve as the foundation for tackling even larger global issues like climate change and economic inequity. Your leadership in addressing the existential threat of climate change is vital, particularly as small island states like Grenada are on the front line of this global crisis. Your call for equitable access to concessional financing for climate resilience and sustainable development is a message that the OAS supports wholeheartedly. Equally commendable is your focus on addressing the pressing issue of inequities, both within and among nations. The global call for fairness in development financing and the collective effort to combat poverty are challenges that we share. Your leadership has underscored the need for cooperation and innovation in these areas, and we stand with you in pursuing these critical objectives. Prime Minister, what truly distinguishes your leadership is your dynamic and useful vision for the future. We were talking, shows at least two very good conditions about you. First, that you can learn from the experience of others, their failures, their achievements. The second is that you have a longer view for the future and that you need the projects to be more sustainable for generations like yours and other generations younger. Your vision of the future and the actions needed today to achieve it brings a refreshing sense of purpose. It reminds us that the energy, creativity, and determination of youth are indispensable in shaping a more inclusive and resilient future for all. Working together with you in the Manifesto Against Poverty and in the Committee Against Natural Disasters is something that has enriched us a lot. The OAS looks forward to continuing our collaboration with Grenada under your leadership as we work towards our shared goals of peace, security, and prosperity. Once again, Prime Minister Mitchell, welcome to this gathering. We are honored to have you with us.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary General. I now have the distinct honor to offer the floor to the Prime Minister of Grenada, the Honourable Dickon Mitchell. Prime Minister, the floor is now yours.
Thank you, Chairman. Former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon wisely said, and I quote, "Saving our planet, lifting people out of poverty, advancing economic growth. These are all one and the same fight. We must connect the dots between climate change, water scarcity, energy shortages, global health, and food security. Solutions to one problem must be solutions for all." End of quote. These words remind us that our region too faces these interwoven challenges. The Caribbean and Latin America, the entire Americas, stand at the crossroads of climate vulnerability, economic disparity, and the need for inclusive development. And so, it is fitting to share with you a few thoughts as we seek to unite and collectively rise to meet these challenges. Secretary General, Chair of the Permanent Council, Assistant Secretary General, permanent representatives, observers, and guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is with immense pride that I address you today on this important occasion, as Grenada is in the midst of marking its 50th anniversary of independence, a golden jubilee with a year-long celebration that started in October last year, under the theme, One People, One Nation, One Journey. This theme reflects not only the essence of our shared history, but also the spirit of unity, resilience, and determination that has shaped our nation and continues to guide our path forward. Since achieving independence in 1974, Grenada's journey has been one of triumph over adversity. Our ancestors, like the Kalinago warriors and the freedom fighters of Fernandes rebellion, laid the foundation for a nation built on the principles of justice and equality. From the visionary leadership of Sir Eric Matthew Geary, who obtained our independence, to the countless contributions of our national heroes and everyday citizens, our people have continuously worked towards building a nation where freedom, inclusivity, and opportunity are available to all. Today, and this year, as we celebrate 5 decades of independence, we honor not only our past, but the promise of our future. A future where we continue to strengthen our democracy, uphold our cultural heritage, and strive for economic and social progress. We acknowledge the importance of regional and international solidarity in this journey, and we remain committed to contributing to the collective efforts of this distinguished body, the Organization of American States, in shaping a hemisphere marked by peace, unity, and prosperity. I therefore take this opportunity to express my country's heartfelt thanks to the OAS and to each of you, Excellencies, to your respective government and peoples for the well wishes and congratulatory messages that we received throughout the past year. These are challenging times, and so what sort of advocacy should we have? It is indeed a profound honor to stand before this esteemed body of country representatives committed to confronting the immense challenges of our time. Today, I'm here not only as Prime Minister of Grenada, but as Chairman of CARICOM and a voice for the millions of people across the Caribbean who are facing the double burdens of climate change and economic inequality. I'm here to advocate for their dignity, for their livelihoods, and for their future. The last few years have been a sobering reminder of our vulnerability, especially those of us being small island developing states. Grenada, like many of our neighbors, has borne the brunt of increasingly frequent and severe natural disasters. These threaten our very existence as they result in ever-increasing hardships and a constant rollback of socioeconomic gains. We cannot afford to continue on this path, and we must, at the same time, recognize that our fight against poverty and inequality is inseparable from our fight for climate resilience. When Hurricane Beryl struck our region 2.5 months ago, it reminded us all too clearly of the fragility of the land, of the fragility of life, and the fragility of infrastructure in the face of climate change. Entire communities in Grenada, Carriacou and Petit Martinique, as well as Union Island, and other parts of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, parts of Jamaica, they were all devastated. Homes were destroyed, livelihoods shattered, and dreams put on hold. For those of us in government, it was not only a test of our disaster response capabilities, but a test of our will to lead in the face of adversity. On behalf of the people and the government of Grenada, on behalf of the people and the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Jamaica, I extend our deepest gratitude to our CARICOM sister nations, to the OAS and all international partners who came to our aid in the wake of the devastation caused by Hurricane Beryl. Your swift and generous outpouring of relief supplies, support, and solidarity exemplifies the spirit of regional unity that binds our one hemispheric family. The timely assistance, whether in the form of medical supplies, food, or technical expertise, brought hope and comfort to our people in their time of need. We will therefore be forever thankful for your unwavering support, as it reminds us that we are never alone when disaster strikes, but we are always stronger together. As I stated during our post-burial recovery meeting of the Inter-American Committee on Natural Disaster Reduction, what we aim to do in the aftermath of an adverse weather event like Hurricane Beryl is not just about rebuilding what was lost. It is about building back better and stronger. It is about transforming our vulnerability into resilience, using every available tool to ensure that the next time disaster strikes, we are not starting from the scratch. But we recognize and we know that we cannot do this alone. Grenada is but one small island in a global climate crisis. We therefore look to this body, to our multilateral institutions, and to the global community, not only for solidarity, but for action, decisive, tangible action that recognizes the disproportionate impact that climate change is having on our nations. We must make the case for climate justice. We must make every effort to establish in and through the Inter-American Committee on Natural Disaster Reduction a permanent mechanism for resource mobilization and allocation in the Americas. Further, the financial resources promised to SIDS, to victims of the adverse impact of climate change, must materialize, and they must be tailored to our unique needs. Our people cannot wait, and the time for bold, transformative solutions is now. This certainly is not too much to ask. As nations, we have done little to contribute to the causes of climate change, yet we find ourselves disproportionately affected by its consequences. This is the very essence of the call for climate justice. We are here calling on the developed nations and the financial institutions that control the levers of global capital to understand that the challenges we face in Grenada and across the Caribbean require a fundamental shift in the way climate finance is structured. We have heard the promises of climate funding, but the reality is that these funds remain largely inaccessible for small nations like ours. We need a system that delivers, one that is agile, responsive, and reflects the urgency of the moment. The mechanisms that deliver climate finance must be reformed to ensure that resources flow directly to where they are needed most. We are not asking for handouts. We are demanding the right to safeguard the future of our people and our nations. For example, in Grenada, our agriculture sector, a lifeline for thousands, was severely impacted by Hurricane Beryl. We lost 80% of our nutmeg and cocoa crops. These are not just commodities. They represent generations of hard work, of cultural heritage, and of economic security. Rebuilding this sector requires more than just aid. As necessary as it is, it requires investment in climate-smart agriculture, in sustainable practices, and in the foundational assets upon which the resilience of our people can see the light of the day. What then is the role of multilateral institutions and international partnerships? I remind the world that Grenada and the Caribbean are not isolated in this struggle. We are part of a global community, and it is through partnership and cooperation that we will overcome these challenges. Multilateral institutions such as the World Bank, the Inter-American Development Bank, and this August OAS have a crucial role to play in supporting our resilience efforts. We need more than just financial resources. We need innovation. We need technology and the sharing of expertise to build our capacities, strengthen our productivity, and engender growth sustainability. It is time to explore new mechanisms. For example, as a resulting in debt for climate swaps, and to ensure that our economies are not crippled by the very debt we take on to recover from the disasters and adverse climate change weather events. Grenada's debt burden, taken as an example, is a reflection of the vicious cycle in which too many developing countries find themselves, constantly rebuilding after disasters, compelled to contract new debts to do so, only to be left more vulnerable than before. This has to change, and the OAS has a crucial role to play in championing these necessary reforms. Mr. Chairman, Excellencies, as one of the smallest nations within the OAS and the world, Grenada remains deeply committed to advocating for fairness and equity in the international financial system. I'm proud to share that Grenada recently became the first country in the world to exercise a hurricane clause in our government bonds. This innovative financing mechanism allows the postponement of debt payments following a natural disaster, and it was triggered after Hurricane Beryl caused damages equivalent to nearly 1/3 of our annual economic output. Though small, our nation's experience with this clause underscores the urgent need for and the feasibility of innovative solutions that addresses the vulnerabilities faced by small, climate-prone economies. Grenada's use of this mechanism contributes a valuable perspective to the ongoing debates about global financial restructuring as we collectively strive for systems that are more just, more equitable, and resilient to the ever-growing challenges of climate change. I turn to address the issue of poverty eradication in the face of climate change. We should not forget that the climate crisis is also a poverty crisis. Those who are least responsible for global warming, or farmers, or fishermen, or small business owners, or rural and indigenous populations, are the ones who bear the brunt of its impacts. The fight against poverty and the fight against climate change are two sides of the same coin. In Grenada, we are committed to eradicating poverty in all its forms. But we cannot succeed unless we address the root causes of vulnerabilities in our societies. This means investing in education, in health, and in sustainable economic development. It means creating opportunities for our young people so that they are not forced to leave their homes and homeland in search of a better life. It means building resilience not only to climate shocks, but to the economic shocks that accompany them. This is why we are heartened by the emergent discussions and focus within the OAS on initiatives towards the noble goal of the eradication of poverty in our hemisphere. It is a bold step in the right direction, and it will require the collective will of all our member states to make it a reality. We must ensure that the most vulnerable among us are not left behind as we navigate the challenges of this century. Excellencies, as Chair of CARICOM, it is with deep concern and unwavering solidarity that we acknowledge the ongoing situational and humanitarian crisis in Haiti, our Caribbean brothers and sisters. Haiti's challenges are vast, with widespread poverty, food insecurity, affecting nearly half of the population, and over 362,000 people displaced due to conflict and natural disasters. The country's healthcare system, already under immense strain, is now collapsing. Major hospitals remain closed, and critical health services are increasingly unavailable. Cholera outbreak has impacted nearly 80,000 lives, further compounding this tragedy. Insecurity and escalated gender-based violence exacerbate the daily struggles of the Haitian people, particularly women and girls who bear the brunt of the violence. Despite these challenges, we have no alternative but to hold hope that Haiti will eventually return to normalcy and stability. The Caribbean community, through its eminent persons group, the EPG, continues to work closely with Haiti's Transitional Presidential Council to support the efforts in rebuilding key institutions like the Provisional Electoral Council and addressing the urgent security concerns. Excellencies, there is a lot to be done. And we recognize that Haiti's police force and the international support missions are under-equipped and severely under-resourced to fully stabilize and reclaim the territory controlled by the gangs. The Kenyan-led multinational security support mission, which we welcome, and while a critical intervention, requires more personnel and resources to ensure that the security situation is stabilized. We therefore call on the international community to not only hasten with humanitarian aid, but also to reinforce the needed logistical and asset support to the Haitian people and their government during this critical transition. Democracy and the rule of law must be restored. The promise of the upcoming elections, though suffering delays and setbacks, continue to represent a beacon of hope for a people long deprived of the fundamental right to elect a government. I wish to emphasize that the situation, if not addressed, will deteriorate, and the opportunities presented over the last year to turn Haiti in the right direction can slip from our grasp. The consequences, not just for the Haitian people, but for the stability and the security of the region, in particular the Northern Caribbean, is not to be underestimated. Mr. Chair, Excellencies, Grenada wishes to reiterate its unwavering call for the immediate lifting of the economic, commercial, and financial blockade against the Republic of Cuba. This unjust measure continues to inflict untold hardships on the Cuban people, though they have miraculously weathered it for decades. This millstone is stifling their economic growth and undermining their right to development. Despite Cuba's exclusion from the OAS, its solidarity with our region, particularly through healthcare and education initiatives, demonstrates its commitment to the values we cherish in the Americas: mutual respect, cooperation, and human dignity. Grenada stands firmly with those among our Caribbean and Latin American neighbors calling for an end to this blockade, which is not only a relic of the past, but one of the key impediments to the unity and progress we seek in our hemisphere. Additionally, we firmly advocate for the removal of Cuba from the list of alleged state sponsors of terrorism. The designation is not only unjust, but it is also counterproductive to the regional goals of peace, development, and cooperation, which are so critical at these times. As I conclude, I address the issues of sovereignty, democracy, and good governance. As we express our solidarity with Haiti and Cuba, I also reaffirm a foundational principle that Grenada has always upheld in our international relations: the respect for sovereignty. Grenada believes that all nations, particularly in our hemisphere, must have the inviolable right to determine their own path without external interference. This, I appreciate, is a bedrock at the heart of the inter-American system. I appreciate, however, that sovereignty does not mean isolation. We must continue to work collectively to strengthen democracy and the rule of law throughout the Americas. It is our belief that democracy is not just a political system, but an essential pillar of human dignity. For democracy to be a natural fact of life across the region, we must reinforce transparency, good governance, and accountability in all our institutions. When we foster these ideals, we are most certain to enable the social and economic growth that our peoples deserve. Grenada will always advocate for these values at the inter-American level, standing firm in our commitment to uphold the sovereignty of nations while promoting the tenets of democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. Excellencies, the challenges before us are immense, but they are not insurmountable. And for someone who the Secretary General has indicated that I have a longer time in this game than many, I must hold the view that the challenges are not insurmountable. We have the tools, the knowledge, and the collective wisdom to build a better future for our people. But we must act, and we must act now. The decisions we make in these halls will reverberate for generations. Let us commit to ensuring that the legacy we leave is one of justice, equity, and resilience. Let us work together as one community of nations to build this Americas, a future where no one is left behind and where the dignity of every human being is upheld. It's been a distinguished honor to have the opportunity to address you this morning. Thank you.
Prime Minister, I consider myself an honorary Grenadian, having spent many of my working years with responsibility for the Grenada Broadcasting Network, and I wish to congratulate you and the people of Grenada on your 50th anniversary of independence, and also for your thoughtful insights and your reminder that we have a collective responsibility to future generations in the Caribbean and in our hemisphere. We congratulate you, and I thank you for your address this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the Protocolary meeting. Thank you for attending. At this time, I invite the distinguished representatives to greet the Honourable Prime Minister of Grenada following the guidance of the Chief of Protocol and her team. The meeting is adjourned.